peace, restore our glory to live forever. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. The era of metal has begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Hello, ladies, men, and monsters. My name is Cowboy Cast. Today I am joined by the always wonderful Orion, and welcome to week 1 of the CCS Spring Split. How you feeling, Orion?
Feeling pretty good. It looks like we're already getting into bans. Of course, due to the delay that ShadowZ had with their top laner, it appears to be that ShadowZ had to forfeit the first game of this best of 3 series, which is why the teams have swapped. So going into it, we're already starting draft. We're seeing lots of bans coming through, but ShadowZ is on the blue side and Iconic is on the red side.
It's truly just very surprising. But did the lobby just expire? That sucks.
I did. Very interesting.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Um, anyways, no surprise, but Shadow Z going to be banning Talia. I can't, man. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why, man.
Yeah, it's one of the things with when you name yourself after a champion, you're most likely always going to get it banned, and it could be the case where you're good or bad at the champion. So it could be a mind game here for Iconic saying, "Hey, my
Mhm.
name is Talia. You need to ban Talia." So and Talia isn't a champion that's considered particularly good right now in the meta. I do like the Caitlyn ban on red side because Caitlyn B1 is a very solid pick right now in the current meta. Interested to see what Shadow Z actually picks up here. There's a lot of very powerful picks, Aphelios being one of them. So Shadow Z with a very strong
Nice.
AD carry, with a Jinx to answer to two of the strongest AD carries with a Thresh pick as well. So three
Ooh,
very powerful picks in the beginning of the draft.
you love to see it. Thresh is a champion that I didn't quite see very much on Expressive's OPGG. Doesn't seem to be playing it all that much. However, he is a Giga Chad engaged support main, so you love to see it. For Iconic, you can see the Vex ban, very much so targeted as Jenka, crap ton of Vex. Like, oh my god, he plays so much Vex. It is like impressive. Like,
Yeah, and not only that, the champion is like pretty strong in the meta as well. The engage from basically an entire screen away is always very
oh my
powerful.
gosh.
But Shadow's Heat does answer with engage of their own, picking the Alistar and Diana combination. We don't necessarily know where Diana is going
Mhm.
in this current composition. It could be
Definitely
jungle.
jungle.
It could be
Definitely
in the
jungle.
mid lane. Ideally, the Diana is better in the jungle currently, but we have been seeing Diana in the mid lane, actually in the CCS, especially during the lock in. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes mid lane, but definitely
I,
could
I
at this stage.
I really doubt it's gonna go mid lane.
Mhm.
Jenka seems to only really enjoy playing these super long range mages, like Victor, for example. It's two bans on Jenka. Just take out the Twisted Fate, and you have that man crippled.
Yeah, well, they don't actually pick it up here, which means Iconic could actually be looking to pick it up for themselves, which actually
Mhm.
would be a very strong pick. I think Xin Zhao TF is a very good combination. We do see the Ari actually coming in,
Ooh,
which is a different change of pace from what a lot of people are used to. But due to the recent patch, Ari is actually very, very strong going into the next couple of patches. So definitely look for Ari to start creeping up in a lot more pick and ban phases in competitive play. Zoe
hmm
pick here, very, very strong against the short range affiliates. Definitely looking to poke him out because he has very limited mobility. So it could be a very strong pick here. Ooh,
Renekton,
Renekton with an
insta lock
answer.
Renekton. Oh, that
Yeah,
was fast.
very fast. Also,
Ooh,
Diana Yasuo combo, really, really strong there as well. So definitely looking at Shadow Z, just be very aggressive team, looking to make all the plays. I mean, obviously, these guys have been sitting in the lobby for about 45 to 50 minutes now.
ugh,
So these guys are very itching to play. So definitely can tell by the champions that they're locking in so far.
absolutely. You mentioned the Diana Yasuo. I'm more looking at that Alistar Yasuo.
Mhm.
Alistar roaming. Like if Alistar and Yasuo just have any sort of communication, which this is like Plat Diamond, they're going to
Mhm.
have communication, I
Yeah.
hope. Then anytime that Yasuo moves anywhere, something is going to happen, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, also like just anytime Alistar Diana is anywhere near the Yasuo, he will always have a free ult button, which is very, very
Ugh,
solid. I definitely do think, unfortunately for Alistar, he will be very much cooped up in his lane due to the power that Jinx and Thresh do have. So the roaming potential isn't going to be necessarily where he can just leave lane because Aphelios is very easily be caught out by this Thresh. So definitely look to see if the Shadows he supported is able to make moves on the map. I know Shadow Z has been making a lot of waves in Runeterra Academy. We haven't actually seen them since Lock-in Tournament. But overall, we are going to see them play in this game against Iconic, who also didn't necessarily have a particularly good lock-in as well. So definitely look for these two teams to come out swinging very, very hard. going into this next match.
Yeah, I'm excited for this match. We've waited quite a while for it. Previously stated, Iconic is going to hop into this already 1-0 because of the massive delay that ShadowZ unfortunately had because of Young Nats. However, things happen. Cali traffic, man. It sucks. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it
Alright,
does look
matchup.
like we're currently in a delay. It does look like the client is actually having issues now just making the lobby.
You
It does.
sound surprised, Orion.
True. The client has been having a lot of problems recently. I believe Spectator client was down for like 2 days, I believe, which
Oh, it's horrible.
we were going to have streams last night. Unfortunately, we couldn't just due to not having the Spectator delay. But it does appear that the players are currently relogging. So obviously, you know, no ban penalties anymore, no more forfeits going into this match. But just looking at the draft, I definitely I kind of like both teams' compositions. I think ShadowZ's composition of just going straight forward, very aggressive, it can be very, very good, especially in the beginning of the season. You don't really have to think a whole lot. It's just, hey, go in, go aggressive, kill the first person you see. But against champions like Mundo and like Zoe, champions that like for Mundo, very, very tanky, very, very you can't just one shot the guy, and then Zoe just wants to poke from range. It can be kind of hard to actually get that initial engage onto those champions.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also looking top lane here. We have the Renekton and the Mundo. I haven't seen that matchup, actually. I've barely even seen Yasuo in any competitive setting since his rework, or even pre-rework, honestly. Who sees Mundo? Do you want to go into a little bit of detail about what that matchup is like in the top lane?
Yeah, sure. So Renekton Mundo, it is a little bit favored to Renekton in the early on in the game because you can very easily break off the passive that Mundo has with your W. And not only does Mundo lose a chunk of HP when you break off his passive, but you also lose even more damage from Renekton and Power Stun as well. So you lose a lot of damage on top of that. And then once you break it, Renekton is very easily able to duel. I think the one thing that Mundo does have in this particular instance is that his cleavers actually do a whole lot of max health damage. So the more HP Renekton actually ends up getting, the cleavers that Mundo will keep throwing will start doing about 150 to 200 damage, and he can throw those about every 4 to 5 seconds. So Mundo's laning against Renekton isn't actually that bad. It's mostly up to the Renekton to dodge out on these cleavers. So if we start seeing Mundo winning this matchup, you can definitely see that he's not dodging the cleavers. But Renekton definitely can get the advantage, especially with Diana and Yasuo. You're probably going to look to see a lot of map movements from these guys. So tower dives against this Mundo can be very easy if they just chain CC the guy. That's probably what ShadowZ is definitely looking to do in this composition.
Okay, interesting. Mid lane, Zoe versus Yasuo. I feel like this is a very stereotypical mid lane matchup in a sense. Both very popular champions in mid lane. How is this going to look in a more organized environment? Will the wind wall be saved and conserved? Will it be used freely? Will things other than the wind wall be used?
Yeah, so I think the matchup between Zoe and Yasuo is very interesting. I think it is a matchup that it's a pretty skill matchup. I mean, obviously Zoe does have the potential of landing this Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Yasuo, but Yasuo very much has the wind wall, so it's going to be up to both players to manage their overall like trying to expose themselves. One thing that sorry, we are trying to get into the lobby. 1 second.
Yes, this is being very strange.
But one thing that both players with these champions do have a lot of outplay potential. So that's very important to understand. I definitely do think that going into this lane, it's very much a skill matchup, which the better player will ultimately end up winning this. I think Yasuo has a little bit of an advantage due to the innate fact that if Zoe uses all of her abilities at once into the wind wall, Yasuo has like plenty of time to abuse Zoe's very long cooldowns. So that's what I'm looking to see out of the mid lane.
Okay. I'm really hoping to see aggressive plays coming on from the iconic jungle support duo here. Thresh and Xin Zhao, absolutely deadly. That is pretty close to perma CC, honestly. not perma in the way like, oh, I'll never be able to move because they keep doing it. Perma as in I'll never be able to move because I can't move. The Xin Zhao knockup is incredibly powerful, and I feel like not a lot of people value it as much, like primarily in lower elos. The same thing can be said about Alistar ults. Personally, I play with somebody who is not quite an Alistar main, but plays enough Alistar where he could like call himself a main and nobody would bat an eye, you know, like that weird middle ground. And Alistar ult is absolutely crazy. I don't remember what it's called actually. I was about to call it Unstoppable Onslaught.
I think it's called Unbreakable Will.
Unbreakable Will. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The damage reduction on Alistar, it increases over time, very very highly. So I think Alistar, along with like all the other champions, definitely looking to just perma dive underneath these towers, tank up a lot of the initial damage because of how high its damage reduction actually is, while also being able to break CC as well. So if Thresh Hook actually lands on him, he can break it off immediately and then dive in. So giving Yasuo and the Diana just a whole bunch of room to play. I think ShadowZ's composition definitely does have the wombo advantage, where like basically if 2 to 3 people all get hit by all of their spells, they basically just all instantly die. Which will be very exciting to see. You know, wombo combos are very fun. You know, all like all the rage people are just instantly disappear. So you know, just very excited to see this game actually.
For sure, I'm very excited to see this. Not late, but later game Alistar in all these fights, because it's gonna happen exactly like this. Okay, Alistar's gonna do something stupid, right? He's gonna walk forward. He's gonna be like, "Herder, I'm cow," and then Zoe's gonna throw a bubble, or Thresh is gonna throw a hook, or something like that. They're going to land because this is diamonds. People know how to hit skill shots, probably. And then Alistar presses R, WQ, Yasuo gets this crazy ult, team fight 1, whoa, crazy, GG next, silver scrapes.
Yeah, unfortunately for Iconic, they actually don't have a whole lot of innate engage. I think we have the main primary engage to this team is probably Xin Zhao, luckily for Iconic, you definitely do have Zoe Bubble and there's Zoe Poke that comes around all the time. But ShadowZ, they're not looking to waste any time. They're looking to dive onto you. Basically, they want to end the fight within 2 to 3 seconds max. If it goes any longer than that, Jinx, Dr. Mundo can start sustaining, just start continuously doing damage over and over and over in a lot of these fights, where it can be hard for ShadowZ, because once ShadowZ uses their initial engage, they run out of gas very, very quickly.
For sure. Once this Jinx gets 2 or 3 items under her belt, she is just going to sit back, wait for Renekton, Diana, Alistar, one of them to engage, and then gonna stack her lethal tempo and just roll over the fight. It won't even be funny. It will be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the reasons why Jinx is such a powerful pick in the meta. With the lethal tempo changes, adding not only attack speed to her, but also additional range to only her extended range with her rockets as well. Jinx is able to hit from about 750 attack range, which no one comes anywhere near close to that in any
Doesn't Caitlyn have 650 for her headshot?
I think so.
I think her ridiculous.
Yes, yeah. So her base range is like 650, but Jinx with rockets and lethal is around 750. So just the ability to attack from basically a screen away is very, very insane. And like I mentioned, how with the ShadowZ composition, once they use their initial engage, if they run out of gas and they don't necessarily kill the Jinx, and Xin Zhao and Mundo are able to survive the initial engage, then Jinx will start doing a lot of damage very, very quickly.
Oh yeah. Even an Alistar 50% damage reduction will not be able to withstand that later on. We could just say. I feel like this Zoe is like looking closer at the comp and like hearing the kind of stuff that you've had to say about this. I feel like Zoe is going to be like overshadowed a lot this game. Like Zoe is usually something you pick as like a power pick, something that has decent roams and has that really good pick potential, but I don't think she's going to be able to do her job very well this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty hard game for Tally to play for sure. I think, especially the Zoe into the likes of like Alistar and Yasuo, even if Zoe is able to portal jump through onto the Yasuo or just looking for poke, you can actually still land a knockup during her portal jump, and Yasuo can still actually ulti to Zoe's initial portal that she went through. So that can very easily be an engage option for them if Zoe is not careful enough, and if ShadowZ knows that information, they're able to expose the Zoe for going for those types of plays. But overall, we're looking at a situation where I think it's going to be up to ShadowZ to be very, very impactful with a lot of their engages and not just whiff on them, because once they go in, a lot of their champions can't get out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, unless you have any final notes you'd like to add, then I believe we are going to toss it to a quick break, Oran.
Yeah, I believe it's all I got, really. I think, it's very important to understand that this is currently 1-0 for Iconic. ShadowZ's top winner had to deal with a little bit of traffic, unfortunately, so he is, they did have to suffer a forfeit going into this game. So Iconic only has to win one game going into this set. So look for them to be, maybe a little bit more cautious, saying, hey, we've already got one game under our belt. Maybe we go back to blue side and we have a better plan. And also for Iconic, just if you win this game, the series is already over and you only had to play one game.
For sure. And, that makes my night a lot easier, but also a lot more boring. All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to toss it to a quick intermission. This is ShadowZ versus Iconic Severance, currently 0-1 for the side of Iconic. We will come back shortly. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CCS Week 1 of the Spring Split. My name is Cowboy Casts. I am joined by Orion. Still, nothing has changed. Your amazing hosts are still here. I know. It's great. So, missed the first 30-ish seconds of the game. It happens sometimes. We heart spectator tool. Farachi used his heal. That happened.
Yeah, he unfortunately did use heal out of base. So he won't have
League of Legends.
He won't have that summoner spell for a little bit. Important thing to note, we do have some interesting summoner spells. We have Exhaust Ignite for the side of ShadowZ, and then we have Heal Ignite for Farachi. So if Ignite actually goes down to Farachi, heal will have very little impact. We do have knowledge that Hunter Wolfsteel is not starting the blue buff. They did place a ward near there, so they will have some insider knowledge that the other team doesn't necessarily expect. So look to see if that information does actually get exposed in this game.
We will have to wait and see. So, we're gonna have to ask the most important question, Orion.
Mm-hmm.
And that question is, who wins the skin game?
Skin game. Honestly, I'm a huge Corporate Mundo fan. I think the skin, he's like a walking pimp, basically. Yeah, that's really cool.
You know, the Mundo economy is too big to fail.
Yeah.
You cannot lose this game. The Mundo economy is too big.
We do see Expressive actually hitting level 2 pretty soon. We could see a play. They actually don't go for it, even though they have level 2 advantage.
I really like Expressive. Sorry,
yeah. I'm surprised that Expressive just didn't really go for that play. He knew they were hitting level 2 because, for bot lane, you just count to 9 minions and you know when you're there. But for some reason, didn't actually opt into going for that play.
I do like that he still stepped up there, zones them off from some CS. You know the second that Thresh hits level 2, he's going to have the Flay and the Hook. That is essentially a death sentence, especially since they have the Ignite.
Yeah, and it's also with Thresh's Q being called death sentence as well. It's very, very...
I didn't think about that, actually.
Yeah, a very nice play on words there by Riot itself. We do see junglers on opposite sides of the map here. ShadowZ does have the information that Hunter Wolfsteel did end up clearing towards his bot stuff. So they do actually know that Krugs is available due to the fact that you can actually count his CS. We do see some trades happening top lane. We see the Renekton Mundo matchup happening where Renekton just has to break off the passive before he can really take any good trades. The unfortunate thing for Mundo here is his wave is actually pushing against him with Diana on the top side of the map. So it could be a very risky situation for him here.
Mundo is definitely taking more damage than Renekton in these early trades, but he's playing Mundo, so it kind of doesn't matter. Because he just sits under his turret for 20 seconds, boom, half his health bars back. We have a nice engage going on. Hook from Expressive going to be able to go in. The WQ from Shaco is going to be able to get the knock up. Phantasm is going to survive the Ignite, and that's an Ignite back as well. 2 flashes topside. The camera's going all over the place.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nats, they're wanting to flash forward to land the Son of Mundo. Actually misses. We do see a wraparound for the Xin Zhao here, wrapping onto Phantasm. Does not have flash.
Expressive is going to walk forward. Maybe try to get a Flay before any sort of hook. The knockback into the tower is going to get him really low, though. The stun, that's blood for Phantasma. Exhaust was the price, but it is so worth it if you are ShadowZ.
Yeah, really well played by Shaco's Thick Gumpy, and also just really poorly played by Hunter Wolfsteel. He has to understand in that situation that Alistar can just knock you back underneath your tower there. Unfortunately, there does end up dying. Doesn't even blow his flash at all either. So really unfortunate for him there. But for ShadowZ, collecting a huge wave underneath your tower, Alistar passive being able to heal back up this Aphelios, and we do have Diana in the spot side of the map with no vision for the side of Iconic Severance.
This Diana gank is, as we say in the business, free. Although Shaco gonna walk up a little bit early with a flash forward with the WQ. Gonna get the knock up. Glacial Augment's going to do a lot of slowing. I was about to say damage. Does not do damage. Phantasma is going to pick up a second kill onto Expressive there. This Aphelios is already 2-0.
Yeah, he's sitting nice and pretty. We're probably looking at gold. He's sitting at a solid 1,900 gold here, so his base is going to be looking like a Moonquiver, maybe even a pickaxe. So he's going to sit on some nice, solid attack damage here going into the early stages of the game. Really unfortunate there for Expressive, not able to flay the incoming WQ combo. I mean, obviously, when you see Alistar walking up that aggressively, you can kind of get a feeling, hey, this guy might look for something, so you can kind of itch for that kind of play, but unfortunately not able to flay early enough, and it does result in Farachi dying in the process.
Absolutely. I was going to mention it before that really great gank came off. Alistar has Glacial Augment. I have not seen this. Oh, Blue Shift. Wolf is doing a nice, or not a nice really, but an invade. Might get a bit caught out, however. Shaco is there as well, and Tali is roaming, trying to get the assistance. The Blast Cone, it's a massacre! Hunter cannot do anything. That's the Yasuo R on top of the Alistar Q. It's a disaster if you're an Iconic fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially after waiting 50 minutes like this, we're already going to see a very explosive game. We do see Expressive going on the Achilles. He is alone.
Oh. You know that Shaco, or Alistar, not Shaco, the Alistar named Shaco, is top side of the map, so this kill on Phantasma is free. That's going to be a shutdown as well. That's some nice gold that Jinx needs and desperately wants.
Yeah, really disrespectful there from Aphelios as well. You know, walking up in a 1v2 situation. I mean, obviously your support made a really good play on the top side, knowing he had a pretty free roam timer. You know, unfortunately though, his wave was pushing against him, so he probably felt, hey, I had to push this wave out, or else I'm just kind of screwed. We do see some trading happen in Mundo. Both top laners are level 6.
Mundo probably wins that, honestly. Mundo are very powerful. He goes where he pleases.
Yeah. We are starting to see a gold advantage being built up by ShadowZ here. We're already sitting at 1k gold lead at 7 minutes. Hunter Wolf still is pathing into this top lane here. Young Nats does not have flash, so Hunter Wolf could we could look to see a potential play here. But I think Young Nats is kind of sniffing it a little bit.
You mentioned earlier that the Mundo Q, this what is it? What's it called? The Cleaver. Thank you. I'm so dumb. The Cleaver does that max health damage, which hurts a lot, especially in these ganks, especially when you have a Xin Zhao on top of all of that. And Blue Shift is bot lane. They could be looking for a dive. You do have the Moonfall available, and the dive top lane is going to happen as well. The early ult from Yoi to get his health back. The damage on the Yoi. Gonna tank the turret. Hunter is gonna fall once again. Oh no! You hate to see it.
Oh, what are you doing, my man?
What are you doing?
Oh, really? It's just a disaster, honestly. You go for a play top lane, knowing that their bot side saying, "Hey, we have the numbers advantage here. This should be relatively easy." But Yoi takes a step too far forward, starts taking tower damage before Hunter Wolf Steel is even in the area to tower dive. So tower starts ramping up so fast that when Hunter Wolf Steel starts tanking tower, it starts doing about 500 damage a shot. So and then after all that, Yoi walks back underneath the tower and dies as well.
You were out, man. It's unfortunate. It just be like that sometime. Hunter Wolf probably down like a good amount of CS now. He's down what, 3 or 4 camps?
Yeah, he's down 22 CS, so you're probably, if it's only jungle camps, you're looking at about 3 to 4 camps. So definitely a lot. We do see Blue Shift making a return back into this lane.
Phantasma gonna be just walking forward, dodging the hook. The block's coming on out. Flash forward! The Moonfall does so much damage! The Moonlight Vigil going to follow up as well. Expressive barely getting out, but the flash forward! Phantasma's out of his mind!
Yeah, really solid play there. I mean, obviously, we saw multiple people going in at different times. You know, we had the really good flash away from the initial engage that Shaco's Thick Dumpy had, but we see the Moonfall coming over for Blue Shift, finding a nice 2-man there. Unfortunately, Yasuo wasn't quite there yet to be in range for the ulti, but still really well executed on the side of ShadowZ, increasing their gold lead to over 3.5k, not even before 10 minutes.
Gosh, that was gorgeous play. Just, mwah, chef's kiss. The flashes were so worth it.
Yeah, and we're seeing this composition just like come through fruition, right? We're seeing just they want to be very aggressive, constantly looking for plays, because this is what their champions like to do. They like to dive in, they like to be super aggro, and they're playing it very well. They have a 3.5k gold lead right at the 10-minute mark. So it's gonna be up to Iconic to kind of say, hey, let's try to slow down the game a little bit. Let's try to anticipate a lot of what their plays are looking to do, and then hopefully they're able to get into these dragon fights where Zoe and Jinx are going to be very, very strong.
Wolf has been sitting in that bush for quite a bit. Oh, look at him, he's chilling, dude. Do you think he's sunbathing in there?
Yeah, he
No,
wants
he's
to
not
do a recall, but he is thinking
does it
that
pay off?
Yasuo.
It might pay off, however. He misses the W. Wind becomes lightning. Does not land. You only get the flash. Herald's gonna pick up some nice plates. However, Blue Shift is coming to go assist with this. Wolf is just, he's chilling. He's leaving.
Oh!
Moonflip's coming on down. Very aggressive on the Talib. Ooh.
Oh wow, he actually dies. Yeah,
What was that flash? That was...
Oh!
What is happening? I don't even... It's a fiesta, man.
Yeah,
What?
it's constant skirmishing on both sides. Now we're seeing bot lane come in for ShadowZ. Check out the He's doing a huge play here.
Oh, nice flash forward. Able to get the double knockup. One kill steal by accident, but 'tis the life when you play a Chad Alistar.
Man, really good roam there. I mean, honestly, it's really surprised that they were actually able to get that roam off because they basically sprinted straight from bot lane into the mid lane. So they obviously Alistar is sitting on his mobility boots, so it is very mobile on the map. So definitely have to be a little more aware of that. But even if that is the case, I mean, we're looking at a game where ShadowZ is just banking on the fact that Iconic is saying, hey, they want to tussle, so let's tussle. And Iconic is just losing out on every single one of these fights, and it was a result of a 4K gold lead at 12 minutes.
It's incredible. After Iconic gets the 1-0 lead just from unfortunate circumstances outside of the game, this is what you want to see. You want to see them draft this hyper-aggressive dive comp. You want to see them just roll over the early game. And if they can translate this lead to the mid-game, I'm going to have to pause myself here. Engage from Young Nat's going to be going on into Yowie. Wind becomes lightning, does not land. The Mundo R coming on out. The Money Man plays, flashes away. Oh, such low HP, but Young Nats is in a difficult situation now. Oh, that sucks. Go over the wall and you hit the bubble on your way over.
Yeah, good roam there for Tally. Obviously securing the kill. Really unfortunate for Young Nats there, trying to blow his flash to go a 1-for-1 there. Unfortunately for him, Yowie also had his flash available, so not able to trade there, but just goes a 1-for-0. But at the end of the day, the gold lead is still a 4K gold lead over to Iconic. We're starting to see a lot of division control start to really go onto the side of ShadowZ. I mean, we can definitely see this bot river is just covered in blue wards currently. I'm pretty sure at one point they had 3 control wards all up in that bottom river, which is probably why ShadowZ Dumpy was able to get all of these roams off that probably shouldn't really happen. We do see Expressive playing back, so he's able to get the Lantern to Farachi here. Not really in much threat with Thresh's Lantern, so really solid play there. But we do have the Dragon spawning. It's already spawned, sorry. So we definitely look to see ShadowZ with how strong they are on the map. Definitely looking to start this drag very, very quickly.
First dragon was a Cloud Drake. This dragon, Infernal. We're going to have an Ocean Rift. Yikes. That is disgusting with both of these top laners. Whoa, WQ forward from Shaco onto Expressive. The Yasuo R, not quite going to do enough damage in and of itself. The Wind Wall is going to block the hook, but it's not quite enough. Diana dashing forward on the Wolf. It's going to be him taken down. Currently, it's 2-for-1 for the side of Shadow.
Yeah, two for 1 there. I'm surprised it actually wasn't a 2-for-0. ShadowZ Dumpy was actually taking the tower initially. Did have ultimate available, but chose to actually drop aggro. Thinking that Yasuo would probably stop going in. Does result in Yasuo's death, so it is a 2-for-1 trade. So not ideal. The side of ShadowZ, where you're so much stronger than the opponent, you really don't want to be like going 2-for-1 or 1-for-1 in a lot of these trades. You want to be getting like a maximum value out of these trades because you're so strong. You don't really want to be giving gold back to your opponents. But at the end of the day, ShadowZ still very much in control. You can definitely tell by just the ward line of vision. ShadowZ not able to actually progress. Sorry, Iconic not able to progress any of their wards actually forward, which typically means like they just have no control on the map. Personally, I want Iconic to, just like I mentioned earlier, just keep slowing the game down. The less fights you can take and the more time you have for Jinx to scale, the much better. We do have Hunter Will still going for Young Nats here, though.
Yep, Young Nats doing an engage on a Yowie, although you cannot gank the Mundo because he goes where he pleases, and where he pleases happens to be where his Xin Zhao is. Hunter Wolf Steel going to pick up another kill. He's 2-5. Started this game rough, but he's slowly pulling himself back in.
Yeah, it was a nice kill. I mean, obviously, good punish on Young Nats there not having flash. Blue Shift is there to collect the wave. Does not quite have Moonfall yet, does have it now, so he could look to be a little bit more aggressive. Shaco Stick Dumpy is going on 100 Wolf Steel here, maybe. Doesn't have vision, though.
Okay.
Route him.
Shaco does have the flash, if he needs to. The Alistar can't go forward. The Moonfall and the Moonlight Vigil. The Jinx Rocket is going to connect. Not going to quite do enough damage to lead for a re-engage. However, it's going to do enough to prevent the tower dive of sorts. Hunter is going to be taken down here by the side of ShadowZ. This game is 12-5 at 16 minutes.
Yeah, very skirmish-heavy game, which is definitely leaning towards ShadowZ's type of style. Definitely the champions that they picked in this game. You know, typically, you know, Iconic doesn't necessarily want to be taking a whole lot of these fights here. Unfortunately for them, they definitely do keep opting into it. You see Tally flashing forward.
Tally flashing forward. That's going to be the Alistar R coming on out. The Everfrost is going to miss. A lot of damage coming on out from Phantasma. Look at all of that. Yikes, man. You just have the sniper. What was it? Calibrum, I think the sniper is?
Yes.
And it's just, it's deadly, man. You are horrified of that. It's going to be a Rift Herald coming on out mid lane by Blue Shift. Is it going to hit twice? Yes, it is. Farachi cannot quite do much against this Herald. Can't hit the eye, lest face damnation, you could say.
Yeah, unfortunately for a composition like ShadowZ, the one thing that composition does really, really lack is any form of, like, sieging potential. They have no range on their team besides Aphelios, and Aphelios isn't typically known for his range outside of maybe Calibrum. But even with Calibrum, you don't necessarily want to be stepping forward a lot of times because you have no mobility. We do see Hunter Wolf Steel is in top lane, even though Shaco Stick Dumpy is engaging.
He is. That's the Jinx Rocket coming on out. W's not going to connect, but this is still just a massacre. Hunters is going to get the knockup. Double kill for Mundo. Not the person you want to see those kills on, but it's kills regardless. You can't complain in the face of
it is kills regardless. Tally does have to burn flash here in the mid lane due to the fact that he was just overstepping a little bit, trying to protect the tower that just needed to die anyways. So really unfortunate for him there. We are seeing Farachi and Yowie still getting damage on the top tower. Probably going to look to trade for the bot tower. Unfortunately, they don't have any minions yet, so they might have to wait a little bit. But I would say that the tower is going to fall shortly due to how strong Yasuo and Diana is. I mean, we could see a reset going from Yowie to protect that tower. We're also seeing Yasuo back off the tower as well. So ultimately, you know, 2 kills in the top lane while also getting a tower as well. Really, really good trade-off there for a team that is so far behind in this game.
They are, what is that? 3.5k gold behind? 2.5k? Somewhere around there? I'm the counting master.
Yeah, it's looking like a 4.5k. That's what it's looking like.
4.5k. Wow. Yeah. I am so good at numbers. I'm the professional reader, Orion. That's me.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, I understand. You know, reading off a scoreboard can be a little tricky, especially when the numbers can get very, very big. But
very large, yes.
For the side of Iconic, you know, I definitely think keeping this game to be a slower pace and not necessarily trying to buy into the skirmishing all the time definitely is a very, very important way of thinking about this game. Unfortunately for them, they are down 3 dragons at 18 minutes, which does mean that a Dragon Soul is going to be spawning at 2350, which is a lot earlier than Jinx typically wants that 4th dragon to be spawning, because she really wants to have those 2 to 3 items where she really feels online. And unfortunately for her, she's probably not going to quite have that 3rd item power spike within that 5 minutes.
Yeah, this game would probably be going a lot better if, nicest way possible to say it, Wolf didn't absolutely int his mind out. Look, man, I'm sorry, okay? You go 1-5, you deserve a little flame, okay? You know,
yeah.
I'm just all I'm saying.
Yeah, unfortunately for Hunter Wolf Steel, he did opt into taking the lethal tempo rune, which meant he just wanted to be very, very aggressive, try to match the early aggression that Diana, Yasuo, and Renekton did have. We do see potential trade onto Yowie. Shaco Stick Dumpy is in the area. It's going to be hard for him to actually get over this wall, though.
Dude, look at that tank champion. He has 2 items, and he's doing more damage than a Renekton. I love Mundo. He's a fun champion. Fun and Oh, he's going to fly. Oh, look at him. He got outplayed.
Yeah, a lot of investment there for ShadowZ to basically get, a flash for flash in terms of overall time. Ultimately, Shaco Stick Dumpy burning his flash is probably a little bit more important than Yowie burning his flash, because Shaco Stick Dumpy, one of his main engage tools is flash with his combo to potentially reach the range that Zoe and Jinx are wanting to be fighting from. And champions like Blue Shift and Jinka or Diana Yasuo don't necessarily have a whole lot of range themselves, but they do have a lot of follow-up range that can be very good with the Alistar.
Yeah, I could for sure see that. Baron has spawned. Hunter Wolf, I really don't know about that one. Gonna be jumping on in with the W E combo. Not quite getting anything out of it, really.
No,
it's more things kind of happen, you know?
Yeah, didn't really have a whole lot of vision in the area. Definitely just diving into something he didn't really have a whole lot of access to. Unfortunately for him there. We do see ShadowZ dumping, kind of checking.
ShadowZ is going to start up this Baron.
Yeah, there is no vision on the side of Iconic here, and it's going to be really hard for him to actually walk through ShadowZ dumping. We do see a blue ward coming down. They do see about 6k HP.
Yay.
It's gone.
But the W, the knockback from Alistar, is just going to keep Hunter Wolf out of the fight, out of the area.
They are being corralled, though.
Just proccing. Whoa! Whoa! Alright, the crazy moonfall into the Yasuo. It's insane! It's a massacre! Phantasma is going absolutely crazy. Young Nats jumps in too. What just happened? I blinked and they were gone.
Yeah, there's the wombo combo potential there for Blue Shift and Jinka just diving in. That's why I said this Diana Yasuo combination is so incredibly strong. Not only do you have Diana's damage on top of it, where you gather multiple members, her ultimate does so much damage, but Yasuo damage over the top eliminates HP bars.
That is illegal. What just happened?
Yeah.
I was honestly, like, I'm having a good time. They're dead. Well,
yeah, it was very illegal for Iconic to even be in the area. You know, I saw like they were being corralled, and I was like, well, ShadowZ dumping can go in, and Blue Shift can go in, and they were all like basically standing on top of each other. That's Diana Yasuo wet dream right there.
Gosh, that is. If that doesn't show the sheer power that ShadowZ has drafted, I don't know what will. If this Diana does not get banned, if there is a next game, then I genuinely think Iconic is throwing.
I mean, there definitely are champions around it where, like, I don't necessarily think it's like a pick ban type thing. I definitely do think also Iconic could be playing these situations a little bit better.
Oh,
like,
of course.
They definitely played into the hands of ShadowZ very, very well. To where they all stood on top of each other, and Diana said, "Oh, look, free kills." So I think for Iconic, it's more or less just like a, hey, let's try not to team fight like that the same way. We do have dragons spawning in about 35 seconds here, which is basically the last hurrah that Iconic does have. Unfortunately for them, they are down 11k gold at this point in the game at 23 minutes, which is a lot. So it's going to be really hard for them to even walk into their own jungle, more or less the dragon pit. They are going to try, though. Jinka is face checking.
Ooh, Jinka getting a little bit aggressive here. Phantasma's in the area, forced to flash away.
Ooh,
I'm sorry? Young Nats is going to be using the ult. Not quite in range to engage. The Gale Force forward. Hunter Wolf's going to be knocked back into the team, taken out. Tali, Todd Turkey. The preferred name of this Zoe Gigachad. They're not even going for the dragon. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Blue Shift is going for the dragon. Orion, tell me, do you want to see an unkillable Alistar?
I do believe ShadowZ definitely is actually currently unkillable with his.
All right, well, make it. Look at it. Oh, that's BM. He just took it like a champ. And then the cat emoji. Man, I love League of Legends.
Yeah. 12k gold lead with an Ocean Soul on top. You know, I mean, unfortunately for on the side of Iconic here, you don't really have a whole lot of money to even buy a whole lot of anti-heal. I mean, you have Thornmail for Mundo, you have Oblivion Orb for Zoe, so you're looking at a situation where you do have a little bit of anti-heal, but I think when you're down 12k gold, it's ultimately just not going to be enough. On the side of Iconic here, it's mostly just up to ShadowZ to dot their I's, cross their T's here. Looking to finish the game in about 2 to 3 minutes time span, and then move on to game 3 for some silver scripts.
Absolutely. If you're down 12,000 gold at 25 minutes, you're gonna need a little bit more than outplay. You're gonna need a goddamn miracle, quite frankly. Yeah,
definitely needing a miracle here. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Jinx is only sitting on 2 items. Zoe's an item and a
Not
half.
even the Runons, actually.
Yeah, so we're not. Jinx is definitely not very strong. I don't think anyone iconic is very strong. And anything, if you're iconic here, you're probably thinking about the next game. Like, okay, we're back on blue side. Unfortunately, they didn't get to play game 1 due to the FF, so they might still have a very similar draft that they've already planned out. So if you're iconic here, you're probably looking to just save some mental. You're not necessarily caring too much about how this game goes because, I mean, you know this game's basically over.
Yeah.
Just due to the sheer amount of gold lead at 25 minutes. I mean, obviously, there is a chance if ShadowZ does decide to make some funny business happen or if they just decide to randomly throw. But at the end of the day, Iconic is definitely just thinking about how they can prepare for our next game and what can they do to win game 3.
Do you know what makes me very happy this game? Look at the top jungle. Top side of the jungle. That is lit up like a light bulb, dude. Like, if Iconic even, like, tries to sniff the flowers of their red side jungle, then they just, like, get evaporated. They just implode.
Yeah, and ShadowZ has actually done a really good job of that this entire game. We do see blue shifts going on to Farachi. Farachi does Gale Force out of it. So, but she still has Flash.
Gonna get the stun. Farachi, he exploded! Shaco is going to go in as well. Alistar, Shaco's the username, it's confusing. It's gonna be the hook onto Alistar as well. Hunter Wolf barely gonna be able to get out. That's the Gravitum to stun Yoey. Todd Turkey taking a lot of damage here as well. I can't believe I agreed to calling him that. Why did I agreed to the most horrid things online.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, Iconic agreed to lose in game 2 as well. So we are going into game 3 with a bet. It's a 1-1 set. So game 3, winner takes all here. So hopefully, you know, on the side of Iconic, you know, taking a bit of a mental reset, saying, hey, ultimately that game doesn't matter if you end up winning this game 3. So hopefully they come into this game with a better mindset, better planned out game, and hopefully they'll come out with a dub.
For sure. I'm pretty surprised Iconic didn't take that. I was expecting, you know, a lot of confidence coming out from them, you know. Bang, bang, pew. You know, we're 1-0. We're up. We're going. But Shadows shows that they don't go down easy.
Yeah.
And they stomped.
For sure. While they were up 1-0, they didn't actually play the game. They more or less just got a free win. So I understand where, like, you can think about it saying, hey, we are 1-0, but you still have to, like, play the games out in order to feel, like, really, really good about themselves. But for ShadowZ, you know, definitely, I definitely do think ShadowZ should be the ones really feeling good about themselves, you know, after that game. Really, really solid victory overall. Definitely looking to constantly make plays and just really, really efficient.
For sure. Well, we have one more game to go for the night. Do you have any final words before we toss this off, Orion?
You know, I'm just excited for game 3, really. I mean, ultimately, this is the winner-take-all match, so it's always very exciting. You know, while game 2 was a bit of a wash, you know, ShadowZ just ran through that game entirely. Game 3 can be a totally different story, which is what I'm here for.
Absolutely. Well, with those closing words, we are going to toss it to an intermission, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back shortly with the third, technically second, and last game of the night. Shadows versus Iconic. We will see you later.
This time, I will not be for
Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again. I am Cowboy Cast. I'm still with Orion, and we are on to the second draft. What are we expecting to see?
We could see probably a relatively similar bands, but obviously ShadowZ having a lot of respect towards that Aphelios. Draft is going pretty quickly here for both sides. After the very long wait, I'm not surprised that they had for the first game. A little bit of discrepancy here for the bands. We have Aphelios dropping in, Iconic keeping to the same three bands actually, so not having any regards to what ShadowZ played last game. So maybe they just have a better plan going into this one for blue side.
I think banning the Aphelios on the red side is good. Having that first pick Aphelios leaves a lot of things open. Aphelios, I could be wrong on this, but from what I have experienced, Aphelios can kind of fit into like every composition somewhat. Like, you want him to work with divers? Sure.
Mhm.
You want him to work with backline? Sure, he got you, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately for Aphelios, the one thing that he does really lack is that mobility and just
Mhm.
the overall, like, if he doesn't have like a good front line, a lot of times he can be very hard for him to play. So like if like a composition like last game where like they picked like all the diving champions like the Yasuo, like Diana, it would be very hard for Aphelios to play into those champions because in order for him to be in range, he's basically in Yasuo's range. But for a champion like Jinx, she is more of like the long range, just poking you down with her rockets continuously. Driving the fourth does have his cataclysm, so that does affect Jinx's mobility overall. Surprised ShadowZ actually doesn't go with the Thresh. Thresh is a pretty typical driving the fourth counter that you can flay him out of his flag and drag to where he can't actually enter fights. And then if he does cataclysm, you can lantern the carry out of the fight.
Mhm.
But the choose to go Xin Xiao, which Xin Xiao is a very common counter to driving the fourth as well. Anytime Xin Xiao is locked up in Cataclysm, he can just Crescent Guard away, and you can't actually hit Xin Xiao inside a Cataclysm.
Yeah. Shadows currently going for just a copy of what their comp was last game. See the Xayah picked up by the side of Iconic. I don't see Xayah very often, but God, do I love her. Xayah is such a cool champion, man.
Yeah, she's not very common in the meta right now. Unfortunately for her, her builds just aren't quite as powerful as like the builds for Jinx and the Aphelioses and the Caitlyn's of the world. So, like that's why those champions are just so very strong. We do see once again a very powerful composition out of Shadows. We have the Jinx, we have Victor,
Mhm.
two of the champions that are definitely just very, very strong in the meta. But Iconic actually picking a lot more aggression on the side of driving the fourth than Nautilus, so we could see a little more of a different scale. I mean, obviously, Iconic was wanting to play very aggressive last game with more of the scaling champions. So I'm interested to see since they have more early game power if they're looking to use that the same way they did last game.
So if you remember, during the last draft, I mentioned that Jenka really likes mages like Vex, Twisted Fate, and Victor was the third one that I mentioned, and here it is. We're gonna have Victor picked up alongside of Jinx. Shadows wants to do the complete opposite of what they did last game. They want this game to go on for as long as possible. They just the later the better, and the Leona is going to complement that quite a bit.
Yeah, scaling is the name of the game for
Oh,
Shadows. Morgana isn't necessarily what I would think would be a particularly good pick here because while it does bring the spell shield, it does bring security to your team. I think overall it doesn't actually apply
interesting.
a whole lot. We do see a Maokai lock in here. We don't necessarily know if it's going into top lane or the support. While there was a whole lot of support of champions hover just then, Maokai could theoretically go into the top lane still. Uh,
Theoretically,
so probably not likely. Maokai is a champion that hasn't been picked in top lane for a very long time.
not
But we'll have to wait and see.
not only that, but young Nats just doesn't play supportive top laners. He is the absolute Giga Chad bruiser, one shot your entire team top lane gamer. You know, plays the Fiora. He got the Graves occasionally. Camille, pretty big one as well. Just all those kinds of champions, just all thrown into one pool. This Maokai is not going top. I would
Yeah,
love to see it. That would be amazing. That would be hilarious. More
yeah.
importantly, but
Also, with young Nats transitioning from an AD carry to a top lane position, AD carries are typically very selfish and they're a lot of
mm,
playstyles. They like to have all the gold. They like to be the ones in charge with a lot of these team fights. So it definitely makes a lot of sense for him to keep that kind of mindset with the
Sure.
carries. We do see Zillion and Irelia locked in on the side of 4-5 blue side, and then we see Gwen locked in for ShadowZ. So definitely looking to see just how the Xin Xiao and Gwen actually operate, because both champions have basically a circle of not being able to take damage for a couple of seconds, which is typically very, very good into champions like Zillion, like Saya, who have to be in the circle to do damage. So very interested to see how this actually ends up playing out. That is confirmed. Maokai is going into the supportive role here, which against the Nautilus Saya, I don't particularly see how this lane's actually going to be playing out. Maybe Shaco Stick Dumpy has a little bit of the secret tech that we don't necessarily know at this current time, but I do think Zaya and Nautilus will have an advantage over this Jinx Maokai lane.
I can definitely see that. We do have Mr. Todd Tali Turkey on the Zillion in the mid lane. I would hope it's mid lane. I mean, Aurelia could theoretically go mid here, but unlikely. I would assume. Just a hunch. Zillion mid, something you don't see often, but when you see it, you know,
Yeah,
'cause it's just feeding into his passive.
Yeah, it's a pick that isn't particularly too common by a lot of mid lane players, because it's one of those champions that's just very supportive. It's very just kind of like, it's very niche in a way, to where like it's just kind of, it doesn't do a whole lot of it does a lot of damage in the mid game, because the bombs, like once you get level 4, level 5, it's his only damaging ability in his entire kit, so it has to do a lot of damage. But once he starts hitting like 9+9 levels, his damage just starts falling off, because everyone just starts catching up to him. But his base damage at like level 7+ is very, very high. So like that's where like you can see Zillion just being a very strong champion. Also with his ultimate, you can have champions like Irelia dive in, go sicko mode on to the back line of ShadowZ and be able to be revived, which is very, very cool to see. So I'm interested to see what level of coordination Iconic does have with the Zillion, to make sure like they're actually going forward with Zillion ulti, not being able to not playing too passively where they don't actually get any value out of the Zillion ultimate. But really curious to see how they actually play around the Zillion.
For sure. I mean, you don't pick Zillion to do damage. You pick him so you can get the stun, and more importantly, you pick him so you can have champions like Aurelia go in, do their damage, die, and then do it all over again.
Yeah, his utility is definitely very high. I think the most important part of the champion is the revive mechanic. Also, something that's very overrated in my opinion is Zillion's not speed up and slow down of opponents.
For sure.
I think it is something
Absolutely.
that very easily, like you can, like for Jinx and Victor that have absolutely no mobility, when you put them to like negative movement speed, they're basically stunned in a lot of cases, where they can't, they can cast abilities, they can still attack, but for all in case and purposes, they're like basically snared or rooted in place, while like not actually quote unquote being snared or rooted. And also being able to speed up the champions like the Jarvan, Nautilus, and Irelia, being able to get them into these fights quicker can also be very good. Being able to catch out champions like Victor or Jinx if they're out of position.
And there's not exactly much you can do if the Zillion slows down your carries like the Victor or the Jinx, because you have Xin Zhao ult, which is kind of peel but not really, and then you have Maokai, which again is kind of peel but not really. Like, he's really good at picking people off, but if you're trying to like keep somebody alive, you have like a second of CC maybe.
Yeah, it's not particularly long. I mean, obviously, in order for Zillion to get in range, he does have to like walk up pretty close in order to slow those carries. So he could make himself vulnerable. But if they are caught out, then obviously it's very, very easy to do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to say. Do you have anything to say?
I do believe that is all that I have personally.
Awesome. Well, before we hand it off, I have a quick word from our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. Orion, have you ever heard of pro comps?
I don't believe I have.
You haven't? Well, let me tell you. Pro Comps is a first-of-its-kind drafting tool aimed for competitive and solo queue play. Pro Comps allows the user live feedback and analysis on drafting, giving them recommendations on picks, notes on matchups, and analysis of the enemy team's win conditions. These features allow the user to gain an edge on their opponent and improve their drafting skills. How's that sound?
That sounds actually great. There's not a whole lot of tools around that are like available to like potentially new teams. So a tool like that with Pro Comps being able to help a lot of these teams do better drafts is definitely very important to have.
For sure. If you want to get into amateur, why not take a free coaching tool? You can find links to that in our Twitch panels, I think they're called, and also in our Discord server. So, with that, we are going to head to an intermission. Hopefully the last one. No, it will be the last one. And we will see you in-game. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is going to be the last game of the night, Orion. It's a shame. I know. I'm crying. I'm sobbing. However, this is going to be a banger if we know anything. Last game, absolute stomp from the side of ShadowZ, who are now on the red team. Very excited to see where this game goes, how it will go, and more importantly, who is going to win this tonight? Currently 1-1, best of 3. Anybody could take us. It's anybody's game.
Yeah, it's anybody's game. Obviously, game 1 was a victory to Iconic due to FF. Game 2 was a victory for Shadow to just purely outclassing their opponents. So ultimately, we could see, this game going to be potentially a banger, like you said. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at the runes, the rune choices and summoner spell choices here. We have Ignite top lane for Young Nats, which is a Yoi Flash, so we do see Ignite advantage of the Nat top lane. Jinka opting into the Ghost here into Tally's Exhaust. So both mid laners don't have TP either. So
Todd Turkey put the spec on the name.
Yeah, very interesting to see how this lane does unfold. I mean, obviously, Hunter Wolf Steel does have the early potential for a gank, as the Jarvan being able to flag and drag. So interesting to see if he's looking to do that or if he's just looking to do a full clear.
Yeah, both of these junglers have the option of a level 2 gank, and neither of them seem like they want to take it. Nothing wrong with that, you know? Just want to sit back and vibe. Jenka is going to let this, wave push into him. Smart thing to do on a champion who just wants to farm. Mad respects to that. What kind of tools do we want to see either of these teams use to try to get themselves a lead in the early game?
Yeah, I think in terms of, like, for what ShadowZ is looking to do, I think ShadowZ is perfectly fine with just scaling through most of the early to mid game. You have Gwen, Victor, Jinx on your team, which all are those hyper-scaling monsters. We do have potentially an invade on the Xin Zhao here going into the bot side jungle. He does have an angle onto Tally here.
Perhaps Blue Shift forcing the flash out of Todd Turkey. Nothing's gonna quite come out of it. Whoa, we have top though. Young Nats gonna get the ignite off. It's the ignite advantage we were talking about. You know, and he might get the seconds, the flag and drag. Oh, the flash back and the auto attack on a Young Nats. I would not have seen that flash coming.
Yeah, lots of early skirmishing happening here. We do see Maokai actually jumping forward.
Whoa. Shaco gonna be taking a lot of damage. The ignite coming on out from Expressive as well. That's the heal flash. All these summoners in the bot lane are gone. Phantasma is going to be able to pick up a kill though. And the Hyper is going to be able to get him out. Oh, the Nautilus hook. Dredge line not quite going to connect. Leaving it a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing skirmishing on both sides. Very, very similar to last game, except a lot of these trades are actually going fairly even. A lot of the trades that happened last game were very one-sided towards ShadowZ, but right now, right now we're at 4 kills at 4 minutes, so pretty hectic than probably what people would be considered like normal. But overall, Blue Shift still has to clear a lot of his topside camps due to the fact that he went for that early mid gank. But Jarvan as well also went for a top gank as well, so junglers still on very similar paces. Here, we could look to also see potential. He's actually returning. Sorry, Xin Zhao returning to the top lane here, but Yowie still has flash.
I can't tell if this is a trade or an initiation over Blue Shift is there. I am the master at looking at my minimap, you know? I'm not even playing the game and I don't look at my minimap, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Yowie, really good job there using the minions to dash back, not even having to burn flash there. And really unfortunate for Blue Shift investing a lot of time into that gank. You know, we saw he was deciding between mid or top going for that particular instance, but chooses to go top lane doesn't result in anything but a waste of time for him.
Yeah, and unfortunately, time is a resource when you play jungle. It is much like money is to the average man, or health is to the average Isaac player. Time is something you have to manage well, and it's something you spend. That was not stonks.
Yeah, and for Blue Shift here, once again, Yowi's wave was in a pretty bad position, so Blue Shift was kind of hoping that the wave wasn't able to crash before he was able to return back into that top lane. But for Yowie, being able to crash that wave meant that Blue Shift didn't really have much of a play there anymore. So he is returning back to his bot side. We are starting to see Hunter Wolf Steel gain a little bit of an advantage in the creep department. He's probably going to maintain about a 1 camp lead for a good portion of this game until we start seeing Hunter Wolf Steel go down in some of these fights or whatever. But overall, still a very even game, much different than what we saw last game.
Absolutely. Well, for one, there is not a 1.2k gold lead, so that's pretty different. Secondly, we are going to be seeing a Hex Tech strike this game. Not a soul, unfortunately. I think the Hex gates are ridiculously fun. We are not going to see that, unfortunately. However, the dragon is up. Todd Turkey taking a lot of damage. However, Jenka is going to as well. Nice trades. The ignite coming down into Farachi. Blue Shift is here. He's going to be able to get the Wind Becomes Lightning. He's going to E onto Expressive. Knock up. Is it going to be enough damage to W? That's the big shield for Nautilus. The extra auto attack from Phantasma. Shaco is going to be able to tank that turret and pick up that kill for his AD carry.
Yeah, really unfortunate timing here for Iconic with the dragon up on the map. We could potentially see ShadowZ just pushing out this lane here, going straight to the dragon with the numbers advantage that they do have after that bot lane kill. So really good job here by ShadowZ once again, making solid plays in the early game, getting an early dragon for this team. And with the scaling advantage that ShadowZ does have, any early objectives that they can obtain is super good on the side of this team.
Agreed. So we do see Shadow's going to be able to pick up this dragon. I just had like a brain freeze. I was about to say the Ignite gonna pick up the dragon, and then I'm like, no, it's not called Ignite. And I'm like, it's red. No,
Yeah, we do see Hunter Wolf Steel is sitting in this top lane though. It is only level 5.
Hunter Wolf Steel gonna get the flag and drag onto Young Nats. He does have ults. The Gwen R gonna miss the first one, but the true damage is crazy. That's the Ignite coming on out, and the Hunter is not gonna kill him. The Triumph is gonna be able to keep him alive. Nice gank on the top side of the map. You love to see it, frankly.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Yeah, really good job there by Hunter Wolf Steel. We are seeing Nautilus go into this mid lane as well. Only level 5, doesn't have access to ultimate yet.
That's Jenka gonna be using the Ghost and the Flash. Expressive. Maybe they're gonna get a dive? Not sure. No, they did not decide to commit. However, they did get all the summoners out of this Victor, which is basically the same thing as getting a kill. That is an absolute death sentence for an immobile mage.
Yeah, Tally also investing his own flash there as well, thinking that he could have enough time to get another bomb in. We are seeing Blue Shift into this top lane. Yowie does have ultimate here, though.
Blue Shift is crazy, gonna be able to flash forward. Yowie does not have ultimate. Bro, he just got back to lane, didn't he? Am I crazy?
I do believe he did potentially get back to lane. Unfortunately for him, his wave is in a pretty good position where it's going to bounce back towards him, so he won't actually end up missing a whole lot. We are seeing Hunter Wolf Steel in the spot side of the map here. Do have numbers advantage. No actual wards where Hunter Wolf Steel is in this moment. Does actually use his flag for the bush, which does mean that he can't actually engage if Expressive were to land a hook at this time. Nautilus does ding 6, so Death Charge is available to him, so the guaranteed knockup to land is going to be really important. Hunter Wolf Steel is seeing a Victor, but no.
I definitely think Hunter Wolf would have been able to kill him there, honestly.
Yeah, especially with Zillion in the area where you just put Victor in a baby cage, no movement ability to get out, Zillion bombs over top, you're probably looking at a kill. Maybe Hunter Wolf still didn't necessarily have a whole lot of information. He didn't necessarily feel too confident about where Xin Zhao was. But ultimately, not going for that isn't the end of the world. Obviously, like we have full vision, so we can definitely have the ability to say, "Oh, look, Xin Zhao's not even anywhere close. Go for that play 100% of the time." But for these guys, where their vision is so limited, there's not always a good way of saying they should or should not have gone for those kind of plays.
Well, trade going up top lane, although a trade is a little bit of an under-exaggeration at this point. All of these ultimates coming on out. Young Nats getting auto-attacked by that 4-stack Aurelia. I don't think he hit any of his needles. No, he did. He definitely hit one of them.
Yeah, I think he hit part of the needle. Unfortunately there for Young Nats, a little bit of his 80 carry mechanics showing there. Not a lot of auto-canceling there on a melee champion, which for Gwen are super important. So canceled about 2 autos there, which resulted in the difference. For that trade there, I really, with the extended range, once she gets her passive stacked up, it's very similar to Gwen's extended range that she gets when she uses her E. So really good job there by Yowie being able to punish.
And that 1 kill on Aurelia could be all that is needed in order to get this snowball rolling. Aurelia, very dominant champion. I feel like most people who have ever played solo queue are aware of that. Blue Shift gonna be setting up a little bit of a lane gank. Whoa, Hunter Wolf. Gonna be going over the Raptor Pit. That's the Cataclysm onto Jenka. But what's the ultimate called? Oh my god.
Chrono Shift. Chrono Shift did not actually use.
Chrono Shift did not work. And the Chaos Storm. That's it. Oh my god, that was pathetic.
Wow. Tally actually not invested in Chrono Shift there. I'm not sure if he just didn't have mana or if he just didn't actually end up pressing the button. But overall, just really poor decision there. Whether or not saying, hey, I didn't have the mana, or hey, let's try to go for this dive. Either way, just very poor decision and overall just mechanics on the side of Iconic there.
I could definitely see the play working. However, the Chaos Storm does interrupt that quite a bit. And also the Chrono Shift not being able to be used is always unfortunate. You could obviously tell Hunter Wolf was trying to bank on that. However, that play is not crazy unfortunate. I guess, like, it's not the end of the world, but getting that extra money into a scaling champion's pocket is never something to scoff at.
Yeah, honestly, I think the play is pretty detrimental. You have Victor that doesn't have flash, and you're investing Cataclysm onto him, diving underneath the tower. You're basically just banking on your Chrono Shift being able to revive you, so it's not they wanted to either trade or just get a clean kill. We do see Yoi potentially going in the top lane here. Trades happening all across the map.
Hunter Wolf showed top lane with that gank, and the fact he's just stepping on wards all over the place. So this is a very free dragon for the side of Iconic.
Yeah, Hunter Wolf Steel probably just doesn't necessarily want to go for a complete kill here. Just wants to use the Rift Herald to crack out this top lane.
Oh, that kills the turret.
Yeah, it's gonna end up killing it or slightly just keeping it at very low HP, which I really can very easily clean this up.
That
Not
is
a big deal.
unfortunate. Jinx taking a lot of damage here. The flash forward to try to, what, depth charge? Something? I'm not sure why he flashed forward, to be completely honest.
Flash up.
Yup. Expressive, gonna be getting all these auto attacks to keep him alive. Farachi using the heal to try to escape. Crescent not gonna do enough damage. Farachi surviving at 1 HP, but the Aurelia TP is gonna be doing a lot. The Jinx Rocket is gonna take him out, and Blue Shift is going to go down. The camera decided to go top lane. Thanks, camera. I love directed cam.
Yeah, really good TP there by Yoi. Obviously, before 14 minutes, not able to TP other than to terrain or tower structures. Sorry.
Terrain.
So yeah, well, what I meant by terrain was actually just a tower. But
yeah.
So you really good job by Yoi. Securing double kill. Increasing his lead to 3, 1, and 2 here. He is super strong, already sitting on the Blade of the Ruined King, which is a very strong power point for her this early on into the game. But overall, I think it was a 2 for 2 in the specific trade. Jinx Rocket does even out the trade onto Farachi there. Not able to dodge out on that. But overall, still a game very, very even. Actually, a 1k gold lead over to Iconic.
That rocket snipe definitely turned a bad situation into an even one. But what is still very bad is the fact that Aurelia's full build.
Yeah, her Blade of the Ruined King Power Spike is very strong. She isn't the same champion she used to be, where once she got Blade of the Ruined King, she kind of just dominated the game at that point. We are seeing Expressive
still very obnoxious.
Into the bush.
Yeah, Expressive a little bit caught out. That's going to be the Maokai ult coming on out as well, and Blue Shift is going to pick up that easy kill. And because of that, this could very possibly be an easy dive. Farachi's not even going to stay, though. That's the Gale Force coming out. Blue Shift taking a bit of damage. They don't know that the whole squad is roaming to come down, however. Whoa, the Cataclysm! Gonna jump forward over the knockback from the Crescent Strike. Is going to be able to keep them out of the fight. Shaco a little bit caught out, however, it looks like he's going to fall for the price of the team. Jinx goes crazy! Oh, there's Aurelia! Okay.
Wow. Well, yeah, skirmishes on both sides of the map. Obviously, for the bot side of the map, ShadowZ wins extremely hard, going 3 for 1. But then we pan up to the top side, seeing a very small glimpse of what Yoi is basically just running over young Nats at this point. We are seeing Jinka face check Aurelia.
Oh,
it's very dangerous.
You hate to see it. Look at that. That was what, 2 abilities and an auto attack? I hate Aurelia. That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jinka, he just can't be in that position, obviously. He can't just face check an Aurelia like that. We are seeing Yoi looking for more blood going into this Jinx. Jinx has no flash.
Yoi is violent.
Yeah, nothing really comes of it, though. Yoi has no flash of himself, so he can't actually go through those chompers like that. We do have dragon spawning in about 1:40. That's probably when our next team fight's going to be.
Yeah, Shaco a little bit caught out, trying to get vision, but he's going to pay with his life for it. Ugh. Is he going to live? Okay, now the Gale Force is going to be able to take him out. Herald is spawning in now, I think.
Yeah, it is in 15 seconds.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And ShadowZ is currently up 2-0 on Dragons, with the next one coming up in 1:10. This is another Ocean Rift. Are we feeling that this Ocean is going to be have a little bit more kick to it compared to last game?
Well, the reason why Ocean Soul wasn't super effective last game was just due to the raw gold lead that ShadowZ was able to obtain. I think if this game, since how close this game actually is, if ShadowZ were to obtain Ocean Soul within the next 2 dragons, I think that propels them to be just really, really strong in the moment they need to be. I think Aurelia is looking like a menace. So I do think Heel Cut will be coming in shortly on the side of ShadowZ because he's about to get Core Drinker along with Blade of the Ruin King. And if he gets Ocean Drake on top of that, I think Aurelia might actually be unkillable.
Yeah. Aurelia is just... I don't like that champion very much. But putting an Ocean Soul on her definitely makes her a lot less fun.
Yeah, I agree. You know, she is a champion that is very, very strong. I think, especially with the CS and the items that she does have. We are seeing groups from both teams here. We do have Herald spawning from the side of Iconic here. We do see the face check.
Shaco stepping up once again. He's just gonna get the horde on top of him. You can't do that, man.
Gets out there.
Yeah. Young Nat's going in. The Chaos Storm. Jinx Rocket not quite going to connect. Very close. Hunter Wolf is going to be doing a lot of damage, and Jinka is going to die to the Aurelia. She's going in. She's in there like swimwear.
Ooh, 1 HP.
Phantasm. Oh, okay, there. Phantasm's going to be able to get the kill. Expressive flash forward. Farachi's going to pick up the kill, and now you just have a Gwen remaining. Gwen can't do this, right? Like this is illegal, right? Like,
it's looking doable. It's looking doable.
Orion.
Nice.
Orion, I hate League of Legends.
Yeah, it's honestly just the power. Like I mentioned, how Young Nats and Blue Shift do have the circles where the whole meme behind Gwen is immune. Very, very powerful meme here in this game. Also really solid team fight there by ShadowZ. Even after the fact, Shaco's Thick Dumpy, got basically eliminated before the fight even started. So they played out a 4v5 pretty cleanly for the most part. We do see Third Dragon going over to the side of ShadowZ here, which does mean potential Dragon Soul will be around the same time as it was last game, which would be about 2350.
That's horrifying. However, taking that Ocean Soul away from the Aurelia, we talked about it a little bit ago, that's going to be good. I feel like having this Ocean on not only Maokai, but also Gwen, now that she has a full Rift Maker and is building towards a Nashor's Tooth, I believe, then that is a lot of healing. A lot of healing.
Yeah, it is looking like a lot of healing. Honestly, both sides definitely could use Ocean Soul very, very well. I mean, Gwen's healing as well is very, very high, with Conqueror also building the Rift Maker as well. So she'll definitely be very, very strong in all these team fights. You saw basically at the very end of it, she was very 1v3 as well. Tally is moving forward.
The pings say Iconic... Sorry, the pings say Shadows is illegal. The depth charge... Not the depth charge. Well, he did use that too. However, the depth line... I don't remember what it's called. The hook is... going to be able to connect onto Phantasma. Gonna get that up, and that's a Baron.
Yeah,
that was a crazy Baron.
Pretty Baron. It's a 20-minute spawn. I will say Victor is very strong in these tight corridor fights. So if they do look to start it, it would be very, very hard for them to actually walk in. But it does look like they're sitting a bit of a cheese.
Look at Jarvan. Look at how he's positioning. He knows what's up. Good position for a Cataclysm here. Young Nats is going to be taking a lot of damage from this Jarvan. Jenka is going to fall as well from the Q. So much damage coming onto the back line. The Jinx Rocket is going to be able to hit Expressive. Farachi and Tali got to get out of there, man. Young Nats just... Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that Gwen. He's gaming.
Once again, another numbers disadvantage fight on the side of ShadowZ that does actually go pretty well for them. Going into that
red buff reset.
Yeah, red buff reset, unfortunately, for Phantasma there. It was able to get it, so not at the end of the world there. But like I was saying, 3v5 fight does go to the advantage of ShadowZ here, which is extremely important, knowing the fact that they could have lost the Baron there. Ultimately, they do stall it out, and they don't have to worry about them having a Baron buff with Dragon spawning at about 230, which would be probably the only reason why ShadowZ could potentially even lose a fight at this point. They're winning fights at numbers disadvantage over and over again, so definitely really, really solid.
That Baron was not taken because of that fight, so that objective is still on the map. We're going to have a possible Ocean Soul in 2 minutes. Gold is essentially dead even right now, honestly. Like, what, 300 difference for the side of ShadowZ? This game is incredibly even, like, the whole way through. This has just been back and forth, back and forth.
Yes, while the gold lead is relatively even, I do think the scaling advantage that ShadowZ does have is coming through. Expressive is using Dredge Line to initiate onto Blue Chip, but he does actually have Crescent Guard here, just make a whole lot of damage.
Yoi's gonna teleport to the flag, and then immediately backs out. Hunter Wolf taking a lot of damage. They don't have Victor with them. They don't know where the Victor is, but he's recalling. You know, from a perspective in our case, you know, this is like the most obvious thing ever, right? Hunter Wolf is going to be able to get the Zillionaire. Look at the wombo combo. Aurelia doing a lot of damage here. Expressive is going to fall to the hands of the Gwen. Blue Shift is next. A lot of health bars being incredibly low. Jenka coming a little bit too late to be useful. Farachi lives. Yoi lives. Hunter Wolf lives. The only casualties being Tali and Expressive. That was a 4 for 3, and God, was it worth it.
Yeah, really solid fight there on the side of Iconic, finally winning a fight after losing the last couple. I will say, Phantasma did waste a lot of his damage onto Hunter Wolf Steel, which did have the Zillion ulti on top of him. I think if he were to just run past that guy, get onto the members like the Aurelia or the Xayah in his team fight, I think that team fight goes a lot better for the side of ShadowZ, but Phantasma feeling like he had to deal with the Jarvan, even though Jarvan at this point in the game isn't particularly very, very strong. But unfortunately for her there, definitely just need to make better team fighting decisions in a lot of these games, because the Jarvan actually had Zillion ultimate on him very, very early in the fight, so
Absolutely.
you know, like, you don't have to actually kill that guy, and then you can just wait it out and then kill him afterwards so he doesn't actually get revived. Fortunately for them, Dragon was not alive. It is spawning in 5 seconds, so this is the team fight that really matters.
Yeah, this is the team fight that kind of not makes or breaks it, but definitely breaks it if it doesn't make it. You know what I mean? The Maokai are coming out incredibly early. Nature's Grasp not going to do what it wants to. Shaco is still going so hard. Look at the cat! Hunter is so hard in there, but it's not going to be enough. Jenka is going to be able to pick up the kill with the Chaos Storm, doing a lot of damage. Expressive is going to be able to get the R from Zillion. Youngnat's going to be doing a lot. Not quite going to get the kill on Farachi. She's going to be able to kite it out. Yoi is going to be able to kill Jenka, and now Youngnat's by himself, forced to try to kill this 3v1. However, health bars are low, and morale is probably even lower after Youngnats survives this much.
Yeah, but they're all so low HP here on the side of
They are
Iconic.
so low. One Q could possibly wipe all of them.
Yeah, it would be very hard on the side of, you know, for them to actually win out in a lot of these fights.
They know Gwen is there. Okay?
I don't know if they do, though.
Good pickup from Youngnats onto Yoi. He's gonna get the triple kill. That's what I'm talking about, man. 1 Q. 1 Q is all it takes in order for this little pretty princess to take down an entire army of Ionians.
Yeah.
Technically, Nautilus is build water. Build waterian? Build rat. Yeah.
Yeah, really good job by Youngnats actually sneaking into the Dragon Pit, being able to place the control ward there where they didn't actually know where this Gwen actually was. Both junglers are back at this drag, so we could potentially see a steal out of Hunter Wolf steal. It's going to be very, very hard for him to get over this wall, though we could see Maokai being able to just complete him before he's able to get over.
Oh my god.
Drag!
That is unfortunate. The Flag and Drag is going to be able to jump in, steal the dragon. This soul is delayed by another 5 minutes. Phantasma. What? Oh, I thought that was Ignite. That's just a lethal tempo thing. I'm not used to that, man.
Yeah,
All this
really
time, and I'm
important
still not
steal
used
there
to
from
it.
Hunter Wolf steal. I mean, obviously, if that dragon goes to the side of ShadowZ, you're looking at a very, very different game. But right now, with your jungler dead, it is a 5v4 on the map. So while you do get the dragon, can you stop the Baron from dying as well?
That is the real question, Mr. Orion. And it does not look like they're too interested. The whole team for the side of ShadowZ is up. Yeah, this Baron is just given for free. Not interested in the slightest. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think...
It's definitely not a bad thing, especially with the number 6 advantage that you had. We could potentially see a wraparound here, though. This is still number 6 advantage.
Get a lot of damage. Whoa! Doesn't matter, though, because he just heals it all back. Yoi is going to turn the tides, taking all that damage instead. Arachi going a little bit deep there. However, he's going to get revived by the R, but he is by himself. So, unfortunately, did not turn into anything. I was trying to think of like a fancy word. But alas, my vocabulary is too short.
Yeah, that was really bad there on the side of Iconic, you know. Opting into giving the Baron is fine, but taking the fight afterwards when you still have numbers down and Hunter Wolf Steel is coming back from base. Very, very awkward positions to put themselves in. So it's definitely going to result in lots of towers here. They don't necessarily have a whole lot of minions, so and a couple respawn timers are coming back through, so it does look like they're opting into going into the top lane here, collecting a lot of the standing gold that is available. And while this gold was very, very even about 2 minutes ago, we're looking at about a 4k gold to go with the ShadowZ.
Thus we are just gonna get all of these outer turrets down, just gonna try to push as many waves as possible. No objectives on the map, so not much to really prepare for. It's all just about the vision game, the pick game, although that's not as important currently. What should these teams be doing right now, Orion?
I think for Iconic, you're definitely waiting to stall out this Baron as much as possible. I think it's definitely looking to expire in about a minute's time, probably. So if you can stop them from getting any more of the big towers, like if you obviously you could probably give up a tier 2. Tier 2 is not the end of the world, but giving up any of the tier 3s or an inhibitor at this point in the game could be very detrimental. It does look like I could be getting the bot tower as well, which does end up going to Yowie, which is, you know, gold going back over to the side.
Quite a
but
collapse.
It is a collapse.
About to happen. Although, is Aurelia just too fast? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Shaco's... Oh, look at him. He's running. He's going. They're committing so hard for that. Alright, there they go.
You know, we just see counteractive play for Iconic being to push the mid lane here. They don't actually have a whole lot of siege due to the Baron minions, very, very powerful at this point, which is very hard for them to actually deal with, which means they're going to rotate into the top side here. The tower is being TP'd on, but there are 4 people in the area.
I don't think they can kill Young Nats. Honestly, I don't know if they can do it.
Yeah, Gwen is immune. You got to remember that.
Gwen is immune. Simply because she decided so. The teleport from Yowie coming on out to the banner, however, these health bars looking low, and Young Nats is godlike! Hunter Wolf, not able to dash over the wall, he screwed it up! Phantasma doing so much damage! Look at that range, what is that?
Here she goes!
That is disgusting, man! Oh my god, Arachi living with a single sliver of HP, but Young Nats is not going to let that slide. That is an ace for the side of ShadowZ.
Yeah, not only is it an ace, but it's 25 seconds on the death timers for important members of the team, which means even more standing gold going over to the side of ShadowZ here. Obviously, they're probably going to look to get this top tower here. Could even look to get a reset with Dragon spawning in about 35 seconds. So really important for ShadowZ to actually get back on the map to prepare for this Dragon spawning, place down the vision, clear any potential wards that Iconic could have in the area, and just get set up for this Dragon Soul.
Wonderful play. You love to see that chase. And that chase is directly going to result in a dragon spawn. Not quite a free dragon. The death timers aren't that long. Not yet, unfortunately. However, once again, this fight could make it or unmake it. Frankly, it's not going to break it. You know, it's just... If they get it, they win. If they don't, oh well.
Yeah.
Try again.
Important to know here that Jinka does have to blow flash very early, but Jarvan's Cataclysm is invested.
Jarvan not having the Cataclysm here.
He's on the pit.
Disastrous. He doesn't have the Cataclysm. He can't afford to do this. The stopwatch coming on out. Is it going to keep him alive? It is. But Yowie is down. Young Nats is legendary. So much damage coming on out from this Gwen. Hunter Steelwolf. Ooh, almost being able to take out Young Nats. However, this Gwen is just unkillable. Triple kill for Jenka. Everything else, scraps, is what Iconic has to fight for. And unfortunately, scraps aren't enough to keep the dog fed.
Yeah, and that's going to be the game, most likely. We have 25 seconds on Nautilus, 30 seconds on, 25 on Aurelia Nautilus, 25 on anyone else. They do have a couple minions here. They do have a cannon. As long as they protect this cannon from dying, it does look like it is going to end up being 2-1 series set, going over to ShadowZ, overcoming the initial forfeited game. So this would have been a 2-0 besides the forfeit, but that it does equal a series win over to ShadowZ against Iconic.
That is absolutely insane, Orion. I came into this expecting Iconic to put a show on. Frankly, first game didn't go too well. Oh well, I had hope. 1-1. They're still gonna do this. But they just don't land it this time. Extremely, extremely well played by ShadowZ. Overcoming my expectations tenfold, frankly.
Yeah,
and I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, I think ShadowZ definitely played particularly well. I mean, obviously that this game was a lot more back and forth than what game 1 was. Game 2, because game 1 was the FF. But game 2 very much a stomp over to ShadowZ. Game 3 much more back and forth. Basically a duel between Young Nats and Yowie, which top winner was going to carry the hardest. Ultimately, the scaling side of Young Nats, along with Jinka and Phantasma, definitely was the winners on this series.
Absolutely. I was not expecting Young Nats to perform as well as he did, seeing as he just did this role swap seemingly out of nowhere. I was expecting his AD carry brain to go he melee champion, explodes, but he overperformed, not just outperformed. And that is incredibly important to add to this. And not only that, but during these games, Blue Shift just absolutely stomped Hunter Wolf. Both extremely good junglers. However, Blue Shift definitely has the edge, and he showed it. He didn't just show it, he flexed it even.
Yeah, I mean, also, another comment for on the side of wait, where did it go? Yeah, on the side of Young Nats here, I mean, obviously, at the beginning of the game, definitely, I think he was sitting at maybe 1-3, 1-4, because Yowie and Hunter Wolf Steel were putting a lot of attention towards him in the top lane. And we saw Yowie basically anytime Gwen was on a screen, he was like, "Oh, I'm killing her. Like she's just gonna keep. She's not allowed to be on my same screen as me." And then out of nowhere, Young Nat's just getting triple kill after triple kill in a lot of these team fights, and all of a sudden, Gwen started becoming the monster that everyone knows her as to be. And also, really solid series from Blue Shift. We had Hunter Wolf Steel had a pretty subpar game in game 2, where he went I think he was sitting at maybe 2-6, 2-7 by the end of that game. And then this game as well, 3-8, making some pretty questionable decisions with his engages. Even though he did have Zillion ult to this game, I didn't think it was effectively used, especially with a couple of instances where they were either communicating well or just weren't on the same page. So unfortunately for Iconic, they do end up losing the series after getting a game 1 victory due to an FF. But, really good job by ShadowZ being able to bounce back.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is where our time with you ends. Do you have any closing notes, Orion?
Ultimately, really good job by ShadowZ here, bouncing back after their game 1 FF. Really interested to see what they're able to do with this momentum going into further weeks. And for Iconic, obviously, without the FF, this was an 0-2. So overall, pretty disappointing start to your regular season. But hopefully, they're able to pull it together, maybe string some wins along the season, and, hopefully they're able to get back into the race of being able to be a playoff contender.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking with us and watching. These were absolutely banger games. Remember, if you want to draft these absolute Giga Chad gamers, head on over to procomps.gg. Give them a huge props. Thanks for sponsoring us, guys. And we'll see you next week. Sayonara, everyone.